Państwa na konferencji wynikowej Grupy Azoty za pierwszy kwartał.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the conference on the financial results of Azoty Group for the first quarter. We are online only this time because of the fact that we are in Krakow. We will be participating in the Congress today, but of course you will have the possibility of asking us questions.
Na dzisiejszej konferencji witam wiceprezesa zarządu Grupy Azoty S.A., pełniącego obowiązki prezesa pana Andrzeja Skolmowskiego. Dzień dobry, panie prezesie. Wiceprezesa zarządu Grupy Azoty S.A., prezesa zarządu Grupy Azoty pana Huberta Kamola. Dzień dobry. I wiceprezesa zarządu Grupy Azoty S.A., prezesa zarządu Grupy Azoty Police, pana Andrzeja Dawidowskiego. Dzień dobry. Bardzo proszę o zabranie głosu pana prezesa Skolmowskiego.
Now the floor goes to Prezes Skolmowski. Before we proceed, ladies and gentlemen, before I share with you the financial results,
na wstępie krótkie podsumowanie najważniejszych wydarzeń.
At the beginning, I would like to quickly summarize the most important events of the last weeks and the last quarter. First of all, there has been changes in the management board. 9th of May, the chair, Adam Leszkiewicz, has been dismissed and he has been appointed on the 1st of May to be the chair of the management board. On the 23rd of May, the management board has dismissed Krzysztof Kołodziejczyk from the vice chair of management board. On the very same day, Krzysztof Kołodziejczyk resigned on his function of being the president of management board of Polyolefins Group. Right now, the management board operates with a 5-member composition, and there is a supplementary qualification procedure for a member of company's management board of the 13th term, with the intention of entrusting the function of president of management board. The changes in the board of directors do not affect the timetable of the turnaround program. The corrective actions that we've been implementing are based on 6 key pillars. First of all, we are consequently implementing Azoty Business Program. This is a transformation of group program which is aiming at creating a cost-efficient capital group with a strong position on the European market. We've been improving operational results. We've been supporting initiatives and engaging in all sorts of initiatives related to regulations that impact the business of our group. We've been conducting talks regarding Polimery Police project, and especially a very important cooperation with Orlen. We've been establishing the sources of financing of developmental investments, particularly investments supporting transformation of the group. It all is joined by the aim of signing and stabilizing agreement with financing institutions. Each of the above pillars is a crucial element of our turnaround plan. We are right now finalizing works on the new strategy in the nearest future. We want to announce a ready document in which we will present the directions of action and of development of the Azoty Group. It's worth noting that we have positive information regarding regulatory issues. The EU Parliament approved a proposal for tariffs on fertilizers from Russia and Belarus. We will tell you more about it in a moment. As a result of the restructuring measures, we've noted consistent improvement in financial and sales results. Majority of the leading companies from Azoty Group have noted improvement of results in the first quarter of 2025 compared to the first quarter of the last year. In the case of Puławy and Police, EBITDA was on the level of, on a positive level. We noted a significant improvement compared to the last year's negative values. It's worth to underline the fact that in the case of Police, it's been 3rd quarter in a row that the company has had a positive EBITDA level. Kędzierzyn managed to slightly increase last year's EBITDA. When it comes to Compro Expert, EBITDA increased by more than 22% and the company generated positive net income. Unfortunately, the group's performance was negatively impacted by Azoty Polyolefins Group, largely
due to utilization of production capacity associated with technical shutdowns due to plant regulation and a low demand on polypropylene markets, which was related to macroeconomic factors. Income in the first quarter of 2025 increased year-on-year by over 12% to the level of 3,822 million, which is close to the levels of the first quarter 2023. We've improved the EBITDA levels in the first quarter of 2025, and we are still improving it. Should we correct the results by negative impact of Azoty Polyolefins Group in the first quarter, we've noted a result on the level of 86 million Polish zlotys. Compared to the first quarter of last year, this is a significant improvement. There's been a similar correction. In the last year, we've had -8 million result. The net debt level as per bank formulas compared to the end of quarter of the first quarter 2024 has been changed only slightly. This means that our turnaround program has been significant. This means that we've decreased capex to the minimum. We've had a demanding year and demanding quarter, including talks on finances. The result of it was is an agreement of stabilizing agreement. At the end of April, we've obtained a waiver letter, an approval of the financing institutions or not meeting the levels of the net debt to EBITDA ratio. So we need to underline that we've been meeting all the requirements. For the last 3 months of 2024, the group has increased the use of multi-purpose loan limits by 242 million and by 107 million utilization of factoring limits. The bank's net debt to EBITDA ratio was still negative at the end of the first quarter. For the 3 months, the negative EBITDA of the group was limited to 8 million Polish zlotys. As I said a minute ago, should we correct it by the negative impact of polyolefins, then the group would note positive EBITDA of 186 million Polish zlotys. The net debt has been continued further limited increase of 180 million. The free credit limits at the end of the quarter amounted to 263 million Polish zlotys, and the cash net at the end of the quarter amounted to the 324 million Polish zlotys. EBITDA has increased compared to the last year by 42 million Polish zlotys, thanks to the measures undertaken related to restructurization, mainly in the cost area, that we've been conducting from the end of March 2024. We've observed a realistic impact of cost-cutting measures. Ongoing remediation efforts are yielding sustained EBITDA improvement each consecutive quarter, despite of the observed large negative impact of fertilizer impact from eastern directions. In the first quarter, we're recording an increase in sales volumes in the agro and plastic segments. Unfortunately, the rentability was affected by the increases in gas prices. When it comes to consolidate normalized fixed costs fell by 58 million year-on-year. Additionally, ending of sponsorships contracts and contracts related to PR resulted in a reduction of the other costs. Lower material consumptions and repair costs are a part of efficiency improvements of the subsidiary companies when it comes to renovation. In the first quarter of the year, the value of Azoty Group's assets stood at the level of 24,183,000,000 Polish zlotys, and increased by 891 million compared to the balance at the end of March 2024. As of 31st of March, the fixed assets amounted to 18,002,000,000 and current assets amounted to 7,181,000,000. Significant changes that occurred in the period and the review of asset side compared to the same period of the previous year. An increase in there was a decrease in other receivables by 635 million, decrease in inventories by 49 million, a decrease in property rights by 354 million, and decrease in cash balance by 44 million. Significant changes that occurred in the period under review of the on the liability side compared to the same period of the previous year was a decrease of equity of 1,224,000,000, an increase of short-term financial liabilities by 786 million Polish zlotys, and increase in trade and other short-term liabilities by 671 million Polish zlotys. The first quarter of 2025, as the group generated a consolidated revenues on the level of 3,822,000,000 and an EBITDA result of minus 8 million with an EBITDA margin of minus 0.2%. This means an improvement of EBITDA result compared to the first quarter of 2024 by 42 million. Positive profitability at the EBITDA level has been achieved in the agro segment, while in the other key segments, the profitability has been negative. Significant negative impact on the achieved results was largely due to imports of products from eastern directions, which means Russia and Belarus. The demand in agro segment has increased significantly. This allowed production and sales volumes to grow. When it comes to the resources in the first quarter, the situation has been influenced by a significant increase in the price of natural gas, which quotations on both TTF and THE, which means Germany and Netherlands, were 71% higher compared to the same period last year. The price increase also affected electricity. The unit cost of coal consumptions were significantly lower year on year. This is mainly because of the lower prices negotiated by the Azoty Group. In the first quarter 2024, Group recorded higher raw material consumption by 409 million year on year, including gas costs of 481 million. As I said, this is most of all because of higher prices, but also the consumption volumes. The use of gas in the first quarter was 4.1 terawatt per hour compared to 4.2 in the last year. And we can see a direct relationship with the higher level of the use of production installations. On the other hand, lower costs of consumptions were recorded by the petroleum raw minerals. Here we mean phenol, propane, which is used for polyolefins production. The cost of fossil raw materials by minus 31 million, and here we increase potassium salt, phosphorites, aluminate. This is related to lower volumes of consumptions in reduction in raw material prices. In the first quarter of 2025, the share of gas in the cost of raw material consumption amounted to 41% and was 13 percentage points higher than we've obtained in the same period last year. When it comes to the agro segment, in the first quarter of 2025 compared to the same period of last year, the main determinants of results were a significant increase in production and sales volumes, with a slight increase in product prices and significant increase in natural gas prices. The main reasons for the results was a significant increase of volume of sales and our increased expansion on the foreign markets and increase of share in the national market, with the significant increase of prices of gas and significant improvement and influence on the group's results is because of the higher import of the fertilizers produced in the East. The European producers have been limiting their expansion on the Polish market. This brought results. Increasing our portfolio by additional elements caused an increase of the sales volume by plus 18% year on year. In case of nitrogen fertilizers, by 22% year on year. As the Vice Chair Andrzej Skolmowski mentioned on 22nd of May of 2025, the European Parliament during plenary session has approved finally the proposal of the European Commission of introducing additional tariffs on the fertilizers from Russia and Belarus. We've seen Parliament's determination to pass the new regulations as soon as possible. All the amendments tabled were rejected by a trilogue, and the main goal was to avoid a trilogue, which would be a lengthy procedure in the months to come and would extend over the time of Polish presidency. This is a very important decision on the EU level that we've been waiting for. This is a clear signal to support the European fertilizer industry and the agricultural industry as a whole, taking into account the security of the whole food chain. Finally, additional tariffs, besides for the standard tariffs, will be increasing in 4 years, all the way to 350 level for nitrogen and 340 euro for the compound fertilizers. We present the data for you in a quarterly, quarter by quarter. In the first quarter of 2025, we've seen an increase of the values. Current quarter is outstanding when it comes to the values. On the current level, the biggest share in import is still belongs to the nitrogen fertilizers. This means 48%. This is mostly urea.
The share of compound fertilizers has grown. Potassium fertilizers is level of the same. This is affected by the import of fertilizers. Let me turn to chemicals. Q1 2025. The EBITDA is 60 million negative, which is an improvement because Q4 this was 90 million negative, but we are under pressure by imports from China and elsewhere, and also downstream is not doing well. EBITDA margin is minus 10.2%, and yet it was better by 4.7 percentage points year on year. Volume of sales has dropped. Prices have grown for urea, and then plasticizers, the prices of these have gone down. Prices of most feedstock have gone down. The main negative determinant was poor market conditions and poor demand for chemicals. Q1 2025 is all about dropping demand for refinery products and growing prices of sulfur. We are concerned that these prices will be growing. Oxo products are relatively available. Titanium white. We also are waiting for growing demand in this segment. The supply-demand conditions made us stop any kind of melamine production. Let me turn to plastics. This is affected by the negative result of polyolefins. EBITDA for plastics is minus 10 million, which is minus 100 million, which is adjustment by 85% negative. We have noted growth in production for polyamide and polypropylene, while prices of sales were dropping. Prices of feedstock were also dropping, which means that we were able to improve our financial result. As for demand, Q1 2025 started with a stable and low demand for polyamide 6. We can see that there is growing demand for polypropylene, especially in the packaging industry, which which is translated in great volumes of orders. Mm, Demand for polyamide 6, this is the automotive industry, and this industry is facing lower demand for cars in Europe and also tariffs imposed by the US. This uh, is still to be determined by the possible responses by the EU to those American tariffs. In Q1 2025, Azoty did have not relaunched, resumed the production of prolactin. EBITDA margin that was 23.4% negative and was lower by 10 percentage points versus the previous period last year. Q1 2025 was all about the operationalization of our works. We were controlling investment processes and we revised the entire portfolio of investment projects. We were forced to cut investment outlays, which can be seen versus Q1 2024. Those investment outlays were limited to a bare minimum, which means that only those investments that were key are underway. They have an impact on our EBITDA. Two investments are carried out in Tarnów, two in Puławy, one in Kędzierzyn. New energy concept for Kędzierzyn is going to improve the energy efficiency of the entire plant. President Hubert Kamola will talk about this more. That is about the investment in Puławy. We are now running inventories and we are seeking the best possible solution to complete the project. We are going through a legal dispute against Polimex Mostostal. We filed a lawsuit at the regional court in Lublin. We are waiting for the coal-fired unit to be completed and we are waiting for the results of the inventory. Thank you. Grupa Azoty Polyolefins is carrying out the development of the installation for the propylene production in Police. On the 30th of May, the stabilization agreement that the stabilization agreement will be valid by the 30th of May 2025. We have also extended other stabilization agreements with other shareholders of Polyolefins, that is Orlen and Hyundai Engineering. This agreement will be valid by the 23rd of June. On the 17th of March 2025, Grupa Azoty Polyolefins concluded an agreement for a loan to finance the purchase of propane. This loan is $28 million. Given the current production situation, we are facing technical problems. Some part of the installation has not been commissioned. Um, mm, this means that these commissions will be carried out beyond these dates in future months. Let me turn to Q&A session. So the first question is about negotiations with Orlen. Are you thinking about other forms of cooperation? Do you think that installation can be bought by someone else than Orlen? We have an agreement which is valid by 30th of June 2025. This involves analysis and the development of business concepts. When we complete this particular stage, then we will tell you more about the next steps. We are now negotiating um, um, uh, the future solutions with Orlen, because Orlen is our shareholder, and we do believe there is a chance for a satisfactory solution both sides. Can this installation be bought by someone else than Orlen? Well, we will be able to answer this question when we disclose the results of the negotiations with Orlen. Another question, given the current prices of natural gas and fertilizers, and given tariffs to be imposed on fertilizers from Russia and Belarus, will there be a chance for the industry to bounce back? We are now waiting for a new season. The season starts on the 1st of June each year, and we see that there are moderate chances to improve the prices of our products and to normalize the prices of natural gas, which is our key feedstock. The EU has decided to lower the recommended limit for the filling of the natural gas storage. Mm, these prices, the price of natural gas, are now lower than similar periods in previous years, but starting soon, we are expecting an improvement. Um, um, has the company breached the terms of loan repayment? Let me reiterate that we repay all the loans. This is one of the key conditions stipulated in the agreement that we concluded with financing institutions, which is why we do not breach any terms and any deadlines. Naturally, this is due to positive results of our negotiations with our business partners. Has there been any positive effects, one-off effects on EBITDA in Q1? The results of Q1 are not affected by any significant one-off events. These one-off events do not affect the results of Q1 versus previous year. Why the company has not disclosed the outlays on Polimery Police? We have disclosed these outlays. They are available in our documents. These outlays for polyolefins were 908 million PLN. And the final question, can you see a chance for positive EBITDA in future quarters?
We underline that should we correct by the negative impact of the polyolefins group that it has on the results of the whole of the group, then the result of this current year The first quarter 2025 is positive. It equals to 86 million Polish zlotys, and this is better by 94 million Polish zlotys compared to the previous year. Every time we address those questions in a similar way, we do not publish forecasts and we avoid answering such questions, but still we want to ensure you that an ambition of the management board is to achieve the positive EBITDA this year. This is our goal that we are aiming for. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This was the last question. Thank you for your presence, and we invite you to the chat on Monday with the Vice President of Azoty Group, Andrzej Skolmowski, at 11. We will be sending an invitation to you via email. Thank you very much, and see you soon.